Hi there. So I'm a former Democrat, and the Democrat Party has gotten so haywire that I find myself way more comfortable aligning with conservative values. You brought up the Bible. Let's talk about Samson and King David, who were flawed individuals, but turned out to be incredible leaders. I'm not picking my president based on his human flaws. And by the way, did you know that he has fantastic relationships with each of his ex-wives? All the children get along. You just look at his children and grandchildren and how they absolutely adore him. You cannot say that about the Biden family, but I don't even want to split hairs. The bottom line is, what Trump has brought back to the American people is peace through strength. And when you have accountability, and you understand that diplomacy doesn't often work with bad actors, but deterrence does. I feel safer under law and order. I feel safer under accountability, and I am a Trump supporter all day. Trump was handed a mess in 2024. Biden lifted sanctions in Iran. October 7th in Israel never would have happened.
Actually,
the war
Trump
in
lifted
Ukraine
sanctions
and Russia.
From Iran. Hold on. Trump lifted the sanctions from Iran.
No.
He left the JCPOA.
No. Then
Yes, he did.
what is the reason? Okay, let Dominic take this.
clarification.
This is her.
It was actually the Biden administration in the summer of 2016. So with the hostage exchange, 6 million of sanctions were given back to Iran, and then 10 million from Iraq were lifted.
So the JCPOA was pulled out of by Trump.
Yeah, but that's totally different.
That's the sanctions that we're talking about.
No. That's the legacy of the Obama administration. There was an expiration date, and there was on a renewal. So those are two separate things.
So Trump pulled out of the JCPOA,
But that's not
which was the
lifting
sanctions.
No.
Those were the sanctions that were holding them accountable and making sure that they didn't develop.
No, that wasn't
nuclear
sanctions.
weapons.
It was a series of checks and balances for the regime, which
Why
they
did
never
they agree to those
complied with.
checks and balances?
Because Obama released
were
$1.7 billion to the regime. They never complied with the JCPOA. That's why Trump didn't pursue renewing it. There was a clause that ended. They didn't renegotiate for it. So Trump didn't end it. There was no renegotiation. The sanctions that were lifted were under the Biden administration.
So I'll continue on law and order. Did you know that in 2025, crime has drastically decreased in record numbers? And that is not by accident. When Trump came down hard in cities like Chicago, D.C., and New York, police refunding works. Law and order works. It protects all Americans.
In many black neighborhoods like Chicago, it's literally kids can't play outside. So I'm sorry that you live in a bubble and you don't understand the suffering in certain communities.
So I hear that you guys have some central conservative values that I believe that you guys genuinely hold. The problem is, I don't know how you hold them and simultaneously support Trump. I'm not saying become a Democrat. I'm saying if you have these conservative principles, like so many conservatives, you must be anti-Trump because he isn't fulfilling limited government, nuclear family. He's not really fulfilling law and order. He's not fulfilling federalism.
As a black American, there's no way I could support the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party destroyed black American families, which I was trying to discuss before, pumping free sex feminism. White liberal women need to take responsibility for pumping free sex feminism, sexual liberation. The Democratic Party destroyed black America by pumping mass immigration, illegal aliens. We know the data on this since the late 1800s. Mass immigration destroys black America. The reason why I support Trump, He's mass deportation is a good thing.
He's deporting less than Obama.
But for liberal women.
Thanks for pointing that out.
But for liberal women.
I'm not for open borders. You probably shouldn't assume that about me, right?
But for liberal white women in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, precluding ICE from deporting illegal aliens, getting in the way. Liberal white women have destroyed black America since the 1960s.
IVF, right?
Incentivizing
and
tax.
abortion.
He's getting IVF to be covered under health insurance. That's supporting
great. I
families.
actually love his tax credits. Yeah.
Wonderful. The other thing he's in the tax credits, every time there's a new baby, it's a $1,000 tax credit. Mm-hmm. How is that not supporting families?
I think that
How is that not as encouraging families?
I think that's a small level, but I would say one thing that's not helping families is completely destroying the economy through a tariff system that he's utilizing to line his pockets
he's been
and
in office
increasing
for 1 year. He's been in office for 1 year.
Increasing debt.
The claim is zero sum. It's that MAGA has abandoned, or Trump has abandoned all conservative principles. But I don't believe that's to be true. So tariffs, for example, bringing economic industry back to the United States, conservative principle, reestablishing deterrence, peace through strength, conservative principle. The family, the tax cuts, IVF as an example, conservative value, family values, reinstating deterrence with the border and deportations. Those are all conservative values. So you can't say Trump has abandoned all values. I can concede that there's some that I might not agree with, but that's not the prompt. The prompt is zero sum. And going back to President Trump, he's a flawed individual. We could cite every politician going back 20, 30 years. I don't think any of us probably would sit down and be friends with a politician. You're citing he can't be conservative because of his past, which most of us here are Christians, so we would also say...
Shouldn't we a little bit? Your guys' criticism of Biden is that his family's broken, which is why he's not for like connected
No,
families.
I don't like Biden because he destroyed our country domestically and through foreign policy.
He had some of the most aggressive economic growth under him. He pulled us out of COVID like fantastically.
No way.
No, the
He
global economy
incentivized
happened to bounce
laziness
back
and inflation.
because going back to things that are important to me, there are things that the Trump administration is doing that do lend into traditional conservative values. So again, the premise being has abandoned all conservative values, I find to just be false from the jump. Because it is so zero sum. And I don't think you could point to any politician or any political movement and make that claim because we're all complex individuals who have our own interests. So I just think that the claim off the bat is kind of set up for failure.
I just want to speak in simple terms, just simple, real terms. For me personally, conservative values for me personally, before Trump, the administration, what I saw was children confused about their gender. I work at a junior high school. What I saw was people who didn't see the value in boundaries and limitations. I saw people doing crime, going in, getting out because of liberal policies, because lenient policies, people coming back to the streets, being reoffenders in brown and black communities. I saw, it just felt like chaos. I see black people getting displaced in LA by undocumented people. And black people whisper about this. This has been happening for decades. And so this is what I saw. And I saw Trump leading a movement that had solutions to those problems that I see around me every single day. But I'm giving you the real, what's happening on the ground and what's important to me. And I feel like Trump and how he moves and what he's activating, I feel like those are solutions to the real problems on the ground impacting the people that I touch and I care about and I love every single day. Because Biden, that administration wasn't doing it, period.